When Farrokh Bulsara was sent to boarding school in India at age 8, he was so shy he couldn't speak up in class. His teachers said, "This child has social problems." But one day when he sang in the school choir, everyone froze. His voice spanned 4 octaves. 20 years later, now called Freddie Mercury, he was singing in front of 72,000 people at Live Aid, while 1.9 billion watched on television. That shy child had become rock history's greatest showman. This is the story of how silence transformed into the most powerful voice. But this story isn't just about music. This is the story of a boy named Farrokh Bulsara, born to a Parsi family in Zanzibar, raised in India, then immigrating to England. A child searching for identity, discovering his sexuality, fighting against his family's expectations. So how did that shy boy become one of rock history's most iconic figures? Why did his stage performances become legendary? How did he create impossible songs like Bohemian Rhapsody? In this story, you'll learn Freddie's childhood in Zanzibar, his years at St. Peter's School in India, and first musical experiences, his family's immigration to London, and Freddie's identity crisis, his years at EALING Art College and Bohemian lifestyle. Also that musical journey, meeting Brian May, Roger Taylor, and John Deacon. Queen's formation and early albums. First big success with Killer Queen. The creation process and revolutionary impact of Bohemian Rhapsody. And of course, those personal struggles. His complex relationship with Mary Austin, sexual identity discovery, and transition to gay lifestyle. His final love with Jim Hutton, AIDS diagnosis, and creative resistance until death. This isn't just a rock star's story. This is the story of the 1970s and 80s. Rock music's golden age, glam rock's rise, AIDS crisis beginning, and an immigrant child conquering the world. How did Freddie Mercury sell 300 million albums? Why is he still one of rock's most iconic names today? Why is his Live Aid performance considered history's best performance? And how did his death change the music world? Are you ready? Because this story isn't just about music. This is the story of identity, courage, and never giving up. Before we continue with Freddie Mercury's incredible journey, we'd love to connect with our amazing Rise Stories community. Please take a moment to let us know in the comments. Which city or country are you watching from? What's your age group? We love hearing from viewers of all ages. If you were in Freddie Mercury's position, what would you have done? Don't forget to subscribe to Rise Stories and hit that notification bell so you never miss our heartwarming stories. Now, let's continue with Freddie Mercury's incredible journey. Farrokh Bulsara was born on September 5, 1946, in Zanzibar, now Tanzania. His father, Bomi Bulsara, was a clerk at the British High Court. His mother, Jer Bulsara, was a housewife. The family was of Parsi origin from India, followers of Zoroastrianism. They had immigrated from India to Africa. The name Farrokh meant fortunate. His family had big dreams for him. Zanzibar was an exotic place at that time. The island in the Indian Ocean was a meeting point of different cultures. From a very early age, Farrokh loved music. His father listened to opera on the radio, and he was mesmerized. Freddie's musical ear was very early, his mother Jer would say. At age 3, he was imitating melodies. At age 8, a big change occurred in Farrokh's life. His family sent him to boarding school in India. St. Peter's School was a prestigious British boarding school near Bombay, now Mumbai. For Farrokh, This was very traumatic, being separated from his family, alone in a strange place. The first days were very hard, he would say years later. I felt abandoned. He was a very shy child. He was afraid to speak in class and struggled to make friends. His teachers were worried. Farrokh has social problems. He's very withdrawn. St. Peter's School had a very strong music program. Farrokh joined the school choir. One day, when the choir teacher heard Farrokh's voice, he was amazed. The voice was very powerful with a wide range. This child's voice spans 4 octaves, he said. A very rare talent. For the first time, Farrokh felt good at something. Music was his escape door. At age 9, he began taking piano lessons. He learned very quickly, had natural talent. At the piano, Farrokh transformed into someone else, his music teacher would say. His shyness disappeared. At age 12, Farrokh formed his first rock band, the Hectics. It was the late 1950s. The rock and roll wave was sweeping the world. Little Richard, Elvis Presley, Fats Domino. Farrokh was very influenced by this music. He played piano and sang. The Hectics played at school parties. Freddie experienced his first stage performance. He was a completely different person on stage, his band friends would say. The timid Farrokh disappeared. During this period, his friends gave him the nickname Freddie. They found it cooler than Farrokh. At a young age, Farrokh struggled with identity crisis. His Parsi family had traditional expectations. Zoroastrian faith imposed very strict rules. Farrokh didn't want to follow these rules. At the same time, he was receiving British education, exposed to Western culture. The question, "Who am I?" was constantly on his mind. Indian, British, African. This identity confusion would later shape his artistic identity. "I'm from everywhere and nowhere," he would say years later. In 1964, a revolution occurred in Zanzibar. British colony ended, political chaos began. The Bulsara family decided to immigrate to London for security reasons. At 17, Farrokh came to England with his family. A new life was beginning. They settled in a small house in Feltham, Middlesex. Money was very tight. Farrokh had adaptation problems. London was very different, cold and foreign. The first months were very hard, his mother would say. Farrokh was very depressed. In 1966, Farrokh was accepted to EALING Art College. He would study graphic design and illustration. This school was one of London's most bohemian art schools. Bands like Rolling Stones and The Who had formed here. Farrokh felt free here for the first time. Art, music, sexuality, everything was being explored. He began growing his hair long, changed his clothing style. Now he was known as Freddie. Art school was my real education, he would say. I found myself there. He became active in the music scene. He performed at local clubs. Between 1969 to 1970, Freddie worked with various bands, Ibex, Sour Milk Sea, Wreckage. None were successful, but Freddie was gaining experience. I want to be a frontman, he said, not just background. He began developing stage presence. He practiced poses in front of mirrors. He made money selling clothes at Kensington Market. He loved Victorian and Art Deco style. During this period, he met Brian May and Roger Taylor. They played in their band Smile. In 1970, Smile disbanded. Lead singer Tim Staffel left. Freddie approached Brian and Roger. I can be your new vocalist. Brian and Roger were skeptical at first. Freddie was too theatrical, too different. But when they did a rehearsal, they changed their minds. Freddie's voice and presence were incredible. When Freddie joined us, everything changed, Brian May would say. He was born to lead. The new band name was Freddie's suggestion, Queen. Majestic, glorious, a bit provocative, he said. Perfect. In 1970, Farrokh Bulsara officially changed his name, Freddie Mercury. Mercury was the messenger god in Roman mythology, fast, smart, versatile. This name makes me feel free, Freddie said. Farrokh stayed in the past. His family wasn't happy about this decision. It seemed like he was rejecting his Parsi identity. But Freddie was determined. New identity, new life. Bass guitarist John Deacon joined the band in 1971. Queen lineup was complete. Queen released their first album in 1973. Queen album recording was very difficult. No money, limited equipment, but the sound was very unique. Heavy rock plus operatic vocals plus layered harmonies. Commercial success was limited, but critics saw potential. This band is doing something different, music press said. Progressive, but accessible. Freddie's stage persona began developing. Theatrical costumes, dramatic poses. In 1974, third album Sheer Heart Attack came out. One song on this album changed everything. Killer Queen. Freddie wrote this song about a sophisticated prostitute. Elegant, but subversive. She's a killer queen. Gunpowder, gelatine, dynamite, with a laser beam. The song reached top 2 in UK, top 12 in US. Queen was now mainstream. Freddie's songwriting genius was becoming evident. Catchy, but complex. Freddie was a melody master, Brian would say. Every song was unique. In 1975, Freddie wrote the historic song Bohemian Rhapsody, 6 minutes long, with operatic section, multiple parts, completely unconventional. The record company was shocked. This won't play on radio. Too long, too weird. Freddie insisted, this is a masterpiece. All or nothing. Recording process became legendary. 180-plus overdubs, weeks of work. Scaramouche, Scaramouche, will you do the fandango? The operatic section was completely Freddie's vision. Bohemian Rhapsody was released in October 1975. Initial reaction was mixed. Radio stations refused to play it. Too long. But DJ Kenny Everett took a risk. The song went viral, 1970s style. Everyone was talking about it. It stayed #1 on UK charts for 9 weeks. Unprecedented success. The music video was pioneering. Considered the first real music video. Queen became overnight superstars. Bohemian Rhapsody changed rock history. Between 1976 to 1980, Queen dominated the rock world. Somebody to Love, We Are the Champions, We Will Rock You, Don't Stop Me Now. Every album was hit after hit. World tours sold out. Freddie's stage presence became legendary. Mic stand choreography was iconic. Freddie owned the stage, fellow musicians would say. He was a born showman. But Freddie's private life was very different, much more complicated. In 1970, Freddie met Mary Austin. He was 19, Mary was 20. She worked at Kensington Market. There was instant connection. Their relationship started very intense. Freddie described Mary as the love of my life. They got engaged in 1973. Everyone thought they would marry. But Freddie was experiencing internal struggle. about his sexual identity. "I love Mary, but I'm attracted to men," he would tell close friends. In mid-1970s, Freddie began accepting his sexual identity. He was gay. But at that time, homosexuality was very stigmatized. It had been illegal in UK until 1967. Rock world was especially homophobic. Macho culture was dominant. Freddie told Mary the truth. "I think I'm bisexual." Mary knew he was actually gay. "No, Freddie, you're gay," she said. Their relationship ended romantically but transformed into deep friendship. Late 1970s was a liberation period for Freddie. He was exploring the gay scene: New York, San Francisco, Munich. He spent time in gay hotspots, leather bars, gay clubs. Freddie felt freedom. But publicly, he maintained a heterosexual image. Career protection. At that time, being gay as a rock star was suicide, he would say. "I had to live secretly." There was media speculation, but Freddie didn't confirm. The 1980s were an experimentation period for Queen. Another One Bites the Dust. Funk influence. Massive hit. Under Pressure. David Bowie collaboration. Iconic. Radio Gaga. Synth pop direction. MTV era. Freddie also pursued solo career. Mr. Bad Guy. 1985 solo album. Collaboration with Barcelona Opera House. Realizing Operatic Dreams. July 13, 1985, Wembley Stadium. Bob Geldof's charity concert for Africa. Queen was given only 20 minutes. Freddie maximized every second. Bohemian Rhapsody, Radio Gaga, Hammer to Fall, We Are the Champions, 72,000 people at Wembley, 1.9 billion watching worldwide on TV. I.O. vocal improvisation. Audience participation became legendary. After 20 minutes, everyone was saying the same thing. Queen stole the show. After Live Aid, Queen's career was revived. Younger generation discovered them. "The show Freddie did at Live Aid was epic," Elton John said. "Best performance ever." Queen released A Kind of Magic album in 1986. Massive success. World tours were record-breaking. Freddie was in peak form. But privately, Freddie was worried. Health problems had started. Mid-1980s, AIDS epidemic was at its peak. Gay community was being devastated. In 1985, Freddie met Jim Hutton. He was an Irish hairdresser. At their first meeting, Freddie approached Jim. Jim rejected him. "You're too famous. I'm just ordinary," Jim had said. But 18 months later, they met again. This time there was connection. Their relationship was very different from Freddie's previous relationships. Stable, domestic, loving. "Jim saw me as a person, not as a star," Freddie would say. Spring 1987, Freddie went to the doctor. He had persistent health issues. Test results came back devastating. HIV positive. At that time, HIV diagnosis meant death sentence. No cure, only 2 to 3 years life expectancy. Freddie was shattered, but resolved. "I'll make as much music as possible in my remaining time." He told only family, bandmates, close friends. He decided not to tell public. He wanted privacy, didn't want pity. 1989, The Miracle. 1991, Innuendo. Queen's final albums were made despite Freddie's deteriorating health. The Show Must Go On became Freddie's anthem, literally. Brian May, "I thought Freddie wasn't strong enough to sing this song." Freddie, "I'll fucking do it, darling," and recorded vocals with Vodka Shot. Single take. Every studio session was precious. Freddie knew time was running out. "Record as much as possible," he told the band. You can use it later. Between 1990 to 1991, Freddie's physical appearance changed dramatically. Weight loss, lesions, weakness, AIDS symptoms were becoming visible. Media speculation intensified. Is Freddie dying? Headlines. Freddie became a recluse in his Garden Lodge home. Paparazzi constantly outside. Jim Hutton and close friends cared for him. He didn't want to go to hospital. "I want to die at home, with dignity," he said. November 1991, Freddie became very weak. He could barely walk, but he did a final video shoot. "These are the days of our lives," deterioration was visible in the video. Freddie said to camera, "I still love you." They were his last words to public. November 23, 1991, Freddie told manager Jim Beach to prepare a statement. Statement released. "I wish to confirm that I have been tested HIV positive and have AIDS." November 24, 1991, Sunday, 6:48 p.m. Freddie Mercury died at his Garden Lodge home. He was 45 years old. AIDS-related bronchial pneumonia was cause of death. Jim Hutton, Mary Austin, parents, were at his bedside. "Freddie went peacefully," Jim would say. "Finally, free from pain." News caused shock worldwide. Music world was devastated. News of Freddie's death became front-page news worldwide. Elton John, he was the greatest rock and roll frontman of all time. David Bowie, a true original. Brian May. "We've lost the greatest singer rock has ever seen." Fans created a shrine outside Garden Lodge. Flowers, messages, candles. Queen's albums re-entered charts. Bohemian Rhapsody returned to #1. April 20th, 1992. Wembley Stadium. The Freddie Mercury tribute concert for AIDS awareness. 72,000 people in stadium, 1 billion watched on TV. Elton John, David Bowie, George Michael, Annie Lennox, Liza Minnelli, Metallica. Everyone performed Queen songs. Tribute to Freddie. Contribution to AIDS awareness. Concert raised millions of pounds for AIDS research. Freddie's death brought AIDS conversation to mainstream, activists would say. In his will, Freddie left most to Mary Austin. Garden Lodge, royalties. "Mary was my only true friend," he wrote in will. "My soulmate." Jim Hutton received £500,000 and right to stay at Garden Lodge for 2 years. Mary still lives at Garden Lodge today. She protects Freddie's memory. Freddie's estate is carefully managed. Music legacy is preserved. Money from tribute concert went to AIDS research. Mercury Phoenix Trust was founded by band members and Jim Beach. To date, millions of pounds distributed to AIDS/HIV projects. Freddie's legacy continues in AIDS fight, Brian May said. Trust supports worldwide projects, education, prevention, treatment. The question was, could Queen continue without Freddie? In the 1990s, Brian and Roger did occasional projects. In the 2000s, they toured with Paul Rodgers. In 2011, collaboration with Adam Lambert began. Queen plus Adam Lambert. Adam doesn't replace Freddie, he tributes him. Tours sell out. New generation discovers Queen. In 2018, Freddie Mercury biopic was released, Bohemian Rhapsody. Rami Malek portrayed Freddie. Incredible transformation. Film grossed $900+ million worldwide. Massive success. Rami Malek won Oscar for Best Actor. But film was also criticized. It sanitized Freddie's sexuality and AIDS. Film didn't fully capture Freddie's complexity, critics said. Freddie's influence is everywhere in modern music. Lady Gaga took her stage name from Radio Gaga. My Chemical Romance, Panic at the Disco. Theatrical Rock from Freddie. Adam Lambert, Mika. Openly gay pop stars follow Freddie's path. Freddie showed that being authentic is powerful, they say. Freddie's vocal range was F2 to F6, 4 octaves. Vibrato speed 7.04 Hz. Incredibly fast and controlled. Classically untrained, but technique was perfect. Freddie's voice was like an instrument, vocal coaches said. Control was incredible. No operatic training, but operatic quality in his voice. Freddie's stage presence is studied in textbooks. Mic stand choreography was iconic. Used half stand like a weapon. Master of audience interaction. I.O. call and response was legendary. Theatrical costumes, leotards, crowns, military jackets. Freddie was performance art, theater critics said. Perfect blend of rock and theater. Freddie wrote 10+ of Queen's greatest hits. Bohemian Rhapsody, Somebody to Love, We Are the Champions, Don't Stop Me Now. He was a melodic genius, catchy but sophisticated. Lyrics cryptic but emotional. Personal but universal. Freddie told stories in his songs, Brian said. Every song was a journey. Freddie was Parsi, immigrant, gay, rock star, multiple identities. He was important for representation, but complicated. He lived closeted for most of his career, out of necessity. Freddie wasn't a perfect role model, LGBTQ+ activists said, but he was a pioneer. Today, Freddie is a queer icon, symbol of authenticity and courage. Freddie's style evolution was legendary. 1970s, long hair, feminine clothes, nail polish. 1980s, mustache, leather, masculine look. Freddie challenged gender norms, fashion historians said. Designers take inspiration from Freddie. Gucci, Saint Laurent. Freddie had a complicated relationship with his family. Parents didn't approve of Freddie's lifestyle, especially sexuality. But Freddie supported them financially, maintained regular contact. When Freddie died, his family was devastated, especially his mother, Jeremiah. I lost my Farrokh, Jer said. He was still my little boy. Discussion about how to honor Freddie's Parsi heritage. Zoroastrian funeral ceremony was held, respecting Freddie's wishes. Family frequently visited Garden Lodge, maintained close relationship with Mary. Freddie loved his family, Mary would say. Complicated but deep love existed. Garden Lodge in Kensington was Freddie's sanctuary. He bought it in 1980 for £500,000. Moved after 8 years of restoration. Japanese garden, koi pond. Special areas for cats. Freddie loved cats very much. There were 10+ cats in the house. He even wrote a song to his cat named Delilah, featured on album. My home is my shell, he would say. Refuge from outside world. Freddie's cat obsession was legendary. He would celebrate each cat's birthday, buy presents. While on tour, he would phone the cats. How are my babies? He'd ask. Delilah's song was on 1991 Innuendo album. You make me so very happy when you cuddle up and go to sleep beside me. Critics found it weird, but Freddie didn't care. It was genuine love expression. Freddie was a passionate art collector, especially Japanese art, prints, ceramics, kimonos, Victorian and Art Nouveau furniture, cloisonne items. he would spend at Sotheby's auctions, had expensive taste. "Beauty inspires me," he'd say. "Art is essential to life." In 2023, collection raised £50+ million at auction. Record-breaking. Freddie's opera dream came true in 1987. Collaboration with Spanish soprano MONTSERRAT CABALLÉ. They duetted for the song Barcelona, operatic rock fusion. Album released in 1988. Barcelona used as anthem at 1992 Barcelona Olympics, posthumously. Freddie realized his operatic dreams, Montserrat would say. He was a true artist. In 2002, We Will Rock You musical premiered in London. Ben Elton wrote it. Featured Queen's music. Initial critics were mixed, but audience loved it. Ran for 12+ years in West End. Worldwide productions. Musical introduced new generation to Queen. Freddie's theatrical vision continues, Roger Taylor said. In 2001, Queen was inducted into Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Brian, Roger, John attended ceremony. Freddie honored posthumously. "Freddie should be here," Brian said in emotional speech. Foo Fighters inducted them. Dave Grohl praised Freddie. "Greatest frontman ever," he said. "Irreplaceable." Queen holds multiple Guinness World Records. Bohemian Rhapsody. First video to reach 1 billion views on YouTube. Pre-1990s song. Live Aid performance. Greatest live rock performance. Freddie, one of greatest singers of all time rankings. Inducted into UK Music Hall of Fame. Songwriters Hall of Fame. Over 300 million records sold worldwide. Freddie Mercury statue in Montreux, Switzerland, unveiled in 1996. Queen had recorded there. Freddie loved the city. Statue is lakeside. Tourists make pilgrimage. There's also a statue in Zanzibar. Commemorates birthplace. Blue plaque at Garden Lodge in London. Freddie is immortalized, fans say. Freddie's death changed AIDS conversation. Until 1991, AIDS was stigmatized as gay plague. When beloved icon like Freddie died, public attitude shifted. AIDS can affect all of us, realization came. Testing increased, funding increased, compassion increased. Freddie's death was catalyst, health advocates said. In the 2010s, streaming services rose. Queen became accessible to new generation. Bohemian Rhapsody goes viral on TikTok. Gen Z discovers it. 40+ million monthly listeners on Spotify. Freddie's music is timeless, streaming analysts said. Every generation loves it. Bohemian Rhapsody is a cultural phenomenon, relevant in every decade since 1975. Wayne's World, 1992, film scene renewed popularity. 2018 biopic, massive resurgence. 1.9+ billion views on YouTube. Most viewed music video from pre-1990s. This song never dies, music historians said. Freddie's unreleased recordings are protected in vault. Band carefully curates and releases them. Quality control is very important. Maintaining Freddie's standards. Freddie was a perfectionist, Brian said. We should only release best material. There are occasional releases, demos, alternate versions, live recordings, hundreds of Freddie Mercury tribute artists worldwide. Mark Martel, incredibly similar voice, backing vocals on Queen plus Adam Lambert tours. One Night of Queen, tribute band touring for 30+ years. Freddie's mannerisms are studied, make stand moves replicated. Freddie is impossible to truly replicate, they say. But tribute is honor. Queen Productions Limited. Band's company incredibly successful. Merchandising, licensing, catalog sales. Estimated band members each worth £100+ million. Careful brand management. Strict quality control. Freddie's legacy must be protected, management said. Queen and Freddie are studied at universities. Musicology, cultural studies, LGBTQ+ studies. Bohemian Rhapsody is analyzed in music theory classes. PhD dissertations written about Freddie Mercury. Freddie is subject of academic interest, scholars said. Cultural icon. AI technology tries to recreate Freddie's voice. Ethical debates, exploiting deceased artists, virtual reality, Freddie concerts, future possibility, hologram technology, discussed but controversial. Band is cautious. Freddie's legacy must be carefully handled. Official at Freddie Mercury account on Instagram has 3+ million followers. Rare photos, behind-scenes content, legacy posts. Twitter, Facebook, active Queen/Freddie presence. Young fans discover through social media. Freddie is forever young, social media managers said. Timeless appeal. Luxury brands create Freddie-inspired collections. Gucci, Versace, tribute pieces. H&M, Zara, mainstream Queen merchandise. Freddie's style influence seen on fashion runways. Freddie is a fashion icon, designers said. Boundary-pushing style. Multiple documentaries about Freddie. Freddie Mercury, The Great Pretender, 2012. Freddie Mercury, The King of Queen, 2018. Freddie Mercury, The Final Act, 2022. Countless books, biographies, photo books, analysis. Peter Freestone, personal assistant, wrote intimate memoir. Jim Hutton's memoir, controversial but insightful. There are conspiracy theories around Freddie's death. HIV/AIDS isn't real. Dangerous misinformation. Freddie is still alive. Absurd but persistent rumor. Where are the ashes? Minus mystery. Mary Austin keeps it secret. Band tries to debunk these theories. Freddie was cremated with Zoroastrian rites. Ashes were given to Mary Austin, Freddie's final wish. Mary has never revealed where she scattered them. Freddie wanted privacy, she said. Final resting place will remain secret. There's speculation. Kensal Green Cemetery, Switzerland, India. But truth is known only by Mary. Freddie Mercury is everywhere in pop culture. References in TV shows, movies, memes. Don't Stop Me Now consistently tops most feel-good song polls. We Are the Champions, sports anthem worldwide. Cultural impact immeasurable. Music, fashion, LGBTQ+ rights. Baby boomers witnessed Freddie live. Gen X grew up with Queen. Millennials rediscovered through internet. Gen Z discovering through TikTok, streaming. Every generation claims Freddie, music analysts said. Universal appeal. Freddie was a notorious perfectionist. He would spend hours in studio getting vocals exactly right. "One more take, darling," became his catchphrase. Band members would get frustrated sometimes but respected it. Freddie's perfectionism created magic, Roger would say. Freddie had a wicked sense of humor. He loved self-deprecating jokes. "I'm just a musical prostitute, darling." He would throw parties, legendary events, champagne, caviar, extravagance. Freddie was life of the party, friends said. Joy bringer. But in private moments, he was very shy and insecure. Despite his success, Freddie was deeply insecure, self-conscious about his teeth, prominent overbite. I look like a Persian papadom, he'd say. He considered corrective surgery but feared vocal change. Vulnerabilities made Freddie relatable, fans said. His larger-than-life stage persona was armor, protection from judgment. On stage, I can be anyone, he'd say. Off stage, I'm just shy Farrokh. Freddie was quietly charitable, didn't want public attention. AIDS organizations, music education, animal welfare. In his will, he left significant amounts to charities. Mercury Phoenix Trust continues this legacy. Freddie had a giving spirit, close friends said. He believed in using wealth for good. What's the point of money if you can't help? Modern artists constantly pay tribute. Pink, Bohemian Rhapsody cover, emotional performance. Green Day, We Are the Champions covers. Panic, At the Disco, theatrical style inspired by Freddie. The Killers, Somebody to Love, tribute performance. Freddie's influence is everywhere, music industry says. Even hip-hop artists sample Queen. Kanye West, Jay-Z used Queen samples. Queen's music is featured at major global events. London, 2012. Olympics, Bohemian Rhapsody, at closing ceremony. Barcelona, 1992. Barcelona as anthem. Super Bowls, World Cups, We Are the Champions. Freddie's music unites the world, event organizers say. Sports teams worldwide use Queen anthems for victory celebrations. Freddie Mercury died 33+ years ago, but his presence is stronger than ever. Music is timeless, voice unforgettable, spirit indomitable. New fans discover him daily. Legacy is growing. Legends never die, they say. Freddie is perfect example. The journey from Farrokh Bulsara to Freddie Mercury. Transformation from shy immigrant boy to rock god. I won't be a rock star. I will be a legend, Freddie had said. He was right. Freddie Mercury's story is the most powerful example of identity search. The Parsi child, born in Zanzibar, Farrokh, struggling with shyness at boarding school in India, eventually conquered the world as Freddie Mercury. His greatest achievement wasn't just music, it was authenticity, the courage to find himself and be unapologetically himself. I'm just a musical prostitute, my dear, he'd say with humility. But the truth, he was rock's king, the champion, the show that must go on. 4-octave vocal range, operatic flair, theatrical genius, boundary-pushing artistry. All of it was Freddie. Bohemian Rhapsody wasn't just a song, it was Freddie himself. Unconventional, genre-defying, impossible, but perfect. The 20 minutes at Live Aid, the best 20 minutes in music history. 72,000 people were in the palm of Freddie's hand. So what about you? Which shyness are you ready to transform into powerful voice? Can you, like Freddie, have the courage to make the impossible possible? Freddie Mercury showed that our greatest limitations are in our own minds, and the most powerful showman sometimes emerges from the shyest child. AIDS killed him, but his legacy is immortal. Because real art, real courage, real love, these never die. The show must go on. And it does. Freddie's voice reaches millions of people every day. New generations discover him. Legacy grows. From Zanzibar to Wembley, from Farrokh to Freddie, from silence to rock's greatest voice. This is the story of transformation, courage, and never compromising who you are. Sometimes the shy boy becomes the legend. Sometimes vulnerability becomes strength. Sometimes the impossible becomes Bohemian Rhapsody. He taught us that being different is not a weakness, but a superpower. That 4 octaves can contain infinite emotion. That 20 minutes on stage can last forever in memory. Freddie Mercury proved that you don't need to fit in to stand out. You just need to be fearlessly, unapologetically yourself. From a boy who couldn't speak in class to the man who commanded stadiums with a single I-O, that's not just transformation, that's magic. And magic, like Freddie, never truly dies. It just changes form, echoes through time, and inspires new generations to find their own voice in the silence. The shy boy from Zanzibar didn't just become a rock star, he became immortal. What's your story going to be?